Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. My name is Gerald. I met Clara about 5 years ago at a business conference in my city. I wasn't even planning to go. My assistant convinced me last minute to show up for networking. Clara was working at the time for a real estate marketing firm, helping run one of the booths. She was sharp, asked smart questions, and didn't seem impressed by the usual show-off types crowding the event. I liked that. We talked over coffee that afternoon, exchanged numbers, and stayed in touch. She was different, composed, and had this easy way of making you feel like the most interesting guy in the room. Within 6 months, we were seeing each other regularly and got married within a year. At the time, I was scaling my commercial property business. Long hours, constant travel. I wasn't always home. Clara said she didn't mind. She liked having her own schedule. She had transitioned into part-time work, doing interior staging for high-end homes, and when I was gone, she kept herself busy. Or so I thought. My friends liked her. My mother loved her. And to be fair, she played the part well. Our social media looked like a highlight reel. People used to tell me I had the perfect setup, a beautiful, supportive wife, and a business that practically ran itself. In hindsight, there were signs, little things. Clara always cared a bit too much about how things looked. She'd ask me to retake photos at dinner just because her drink wasn't angled right. She'd order outfits weeks ahead of events, not because she liked them, but because she wanted to be seen in them. I brushed it off. I figured she's stylish, she's got taste. It never seemed like a big deal. I thought I had a solid marriage. We had a rhythm. She knew my schedule, and I trusted her with everything. The first time I noticed something was off, it was subtle. Clara started mentioning a new trainer she'd met at the gym. His name was Jeff Carter. Tall, tattooed, ran one of those boutique fitness studios downtown. She said he was helping her tighten up before summer. I didn't think much of it. I was working on a development deal, and I barely had time to sleep. If she wanted to train with someone, fine. But then Jeff started popping up more and more. At first, it was just casual mentions. Jeff says I need more protein. Jeff says I should try this detox. Eventually it was. Jeff helped me fix my form during yoga. Jeff's giving me a private session on Saturday. I raised an eyebrow. Private? She laughed. Relax, Gerald. It's part of the package. He does it for all his clients. That conversation stuck with me. Something about the way she said relax made my skin crawl, but I let it go. I was headed to Boston for a site meeting the next morning, and the last thing I wanted was drama before a flight. Still, I paid attention. She started guarding her phone, face down at dinner, notifications turned off. She took calls in the laundry room now, said the signal was better there. Right. I asked once, half joking, got any gym gossip I should know about? She smiled, casual. Jeff? He's just the trainer, super chatty, works with everyone there. Kind of annoying, honestly. I let it slide. Didn't push. That's the thing about suspicion. If you press too early, you look insecure. And I'm not the insecure type. But I started tracking patterns. Days she'd disappear for hours, claiming she was running errands. Evenings when she came home late from group workouts and her hair was too perfectly styled for someone who'd been sweating. There was no fight, no shouting, just distance. Like she was slowly moving out of reach and hoping I wouldn't notice. But I noticed, and I started keeping quiet for a reason. But you know what they say, trust is a gift. And some people treat gifts like trash. It was a Wednesday night when everything changed. I'd flown in early from Chicago. Clara didn't know. My meetings got rescheduled, so I figured I'd surprise her. I picked up dinner on the way home. I walked into the house around 7:45. No lights on, no car in the driveway. The gym bag she usually tossed by the door was gone. I figured she was out with her workout group. I set the food down and sat on the couch. That's when I saw it, her phone, screen up, unlocked, sitting on the armrest. Clara never left her phone behind, not once in 5 years. But somehow, this time, she had. I'm not the type to snoop. I've never looked through her phone, never needed to. But this time, I just stared at it. And it lit up again. A message from Jeff. Can't stop thinking about earlier. I didn't move for a few seconds, just let it sink in. Then I picked it up, opened the thread, scrolled. It wasn't just flirtation, it was a full-blown affair. Photos, plans, explicit messages. The last few weeks lined up perfectly with every night she said she was at yoga or running errands. There were references to my business trips, dates, details. She tracked my calendar like a strategist, knew every flight, every meeting, and used it to plan their time together. I took a breath, then another. No yelling, no throwing the phone. I opened my laptop, connected her phone, and downloaded everything: messages, media, backups. I created a private folder, encrypted it, and sent a copy to my cloud. Then I placed the phone right back where I found it. She walked in about 20 minutes later. The second she saw me, she froze, just for a beat. It was quick, but I caught it. That flash of surprise she tried to swallow. She kissed me on the cheek, asked about my trip. I didn't flinch. That night, I slept next to her in silence, knowing everything had already changed, and she had no idea what was coming. I waited 2 weeks, not because I was scared to confront her, but because I needed more. What I had was enough for a confrontation. What I wanted was leverage. I told Clara I had a last-minute investor meeting in Miami and would be gone for 3 days. She barely looked up from her phone. "That's fine. I've got yoga and a few client meetings anyway," she said. I nodded and rolled out my suitcase. What she didn't know was that I'd booked a suite 15 minutes away at the downtown Marriott. Before I left the house, I made one final adjustment. I'd recently renovated the upstairs office, added new lighting, upgraded security cameras. She thought it was just for show. What I actually installed was a discrete motion-triggered camera in the living room, aimed at the couch, another near the entryway, both hooked to a private feed on my tablet. The first night passed quietly, no activity. The second night, the motion alert pinged just after 8 p.m. I opened the feed. Clara walked in the front door with 2 iced coffees. Behind her, Jeff Carter. I watched them settle on the couch like they'd done it 100 times. They laughed, played music, and danced like college kids. She curled into him like it was their house. He poured wine. They toasted. And then they disappeared down the hallway. I didn't watch after that. I just saved the footage. The next morning, I checked out. Went home like nothing had happened. The house was quiet. Clara was in the kitchen in one of my shirts. "You're back early," she said. "Meeting ended sooner than expected," I replied. Now I wasn't operating on suspicion. I had confirmation. Sunday morning, we sat across from each other at the kitchen table. She was sipping coffee. I was pretending to read emails. I looked up. "Is Jeff coming by today?" She blinked. "What?" I kept my tone flat. "Just wondering. I figured since he was here Friday night, maybe he'd swing by again." She stared at me. "You're not funny. Who's joking?" A pause. Her face tensed, just slightly. She reached for her phone. "Don't," I said. "Don't bother deleting anything. I already have it." She froze. Her hand hovered over the phone like it might explode. "What are you talking about, Gerald?" she asked, voice tighter now. I opened my tablet, tapped the video file, and slid it across the table. She watched herself walk through our front door. Jeff was behind her. I paused the video. "You lied to my face," I said. "In this kitchen. In that bed. For how long?" Clara didn't speak. She just sat there, eyes glassy. Finally, I didn't think you'd be home. You were always gone, and that's your excuse?" "No, it's not. Gerald, please, just listen." "I've done enough listening," I cut in. "Now you're going to listen to me." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tears welled up, but I didn't care. "You have 2 hours to pack a bag and leave this house," I said. "I don't care where you go, but you're not here when I get back." She stood up. "You can't just kick me out of my own—" "I can, and I will. Don't test me." I picked up my keys and left. She was still standing there, stunned, like she couldn't believe the mask had cracked wide open. But for me, it was already over. When I came back a few hours later, Clara was gone. No goodbye, no apology, just a half-emptied closet and a few hangers clattering on the rod. I didn't ask where she went. I didn't care. Instead, I called my lawyer. Daniel had handled a few asset protection cases for me in the past. Sharp, discreet, and fast. I laid everything out. The affair, the footage, the timing. I kept it clinical, just the facts. He got to work immediately. Divorce was a given. But this wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about making sure the damage came with consequences, legal ones. Daniel told me we could pursue a civil claim, something called criminal conversation. Rare, but still valid in North Carolina. It meant I could sue Jeff directly for the affair. I didn't hesitate. While Daniel handled the filings, I turned my attention to the house, sold the dining set Clara loved, boxed up everything that smelled like her, and donated it. I needed the place scrubbed of her, visually, emotionally, physically. A few days later, Clara called. I didn't answer. She texted, "Can we talk? Just once, please." I ignored that too. But her sister Madeline called me next. She tried to soften things, said Clara was confused and broken up about everything. "She made a mistake," Madeline said. "No," I replied. "She made a decision, over and over." The lawsuit hit Jeff 2 weeks later. His gym started bleeding clients the moment it leaked online. Word spreads fast when the guy who's trusted with your time, your routine, and sometimes your spouse turns out to be wrecking homes instead. Clara tried to settle. She wanted to talk privately and without lawyers. I agreed, but not because I wanted to hear her out. I wanted her to see in person what it looked like when the power balance shifted. We met at a neutral spot, a small, quiet cafe on the east side. I picked it because it was public. She wouldn't try to perform there. She showed up 5 minutes late, wearing the same beige coat she used to wear when we'd go out together, like it would trigger some nostalgia. It didn't. She sat down across from me, eyes already wet. "Gerald," I cut her off with a glance. "Talk." She took a shaky breath. "I don't know what I was thinking. I was lonely, and you were always gone, and Jeff made me feel seen." "Spare me," I said. "I didn't come here for reasons. I came for closure." She wiped at her face. "You meant everything to me." "No, Clara. If I meant everything to you, you wouldn't have brought him into my house. You wouldn't have smiled in my kitchen with him 2 feet from the door to our bedroom." She looked down. I continued. "You didn't just cheat. You made a decision. Then you made it again. Then you made it a lifestyle." Silence. She tried once more. "I know you hate me, but if there's any way you could drop the lawsuit." I leaned back. "I'm not interested in your comfort. You made your choice. Now you live with it." She didn't speak after that, just sat there, defeated. I finished my coffee, stood up, and left her sitting there with the weight she'd earned. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. I got the house, the assets, and complete ownership of the properties we bought together. Clara didn't fight it. She signed everything over through the settlement. Her lawyer tried to push back, but once mine laid out the evidence, the footage, the messages, the lawsuit already moving forward, they folded fast. She wanted it quiet. Jeff settled out of court. His business never recovered. Last I heard, he was training people out of his garage. As for Clara, months later, she sent an email from a new account. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I hope you're doing well." I didn't reply. Some stories don't need a dramatic ending. Some wreckage just stays where it is. You walk past it, you don't look back. But me, I rebuilt. Not overnight, just step by step. I took back what was mine, cut out what wasn't, and started clean. No more masks, no more pretending. I kept my name, my peace, and my discipline. And this time, I built without her. Without the lies, without the noise. What I lost didn't break me. It clarified everything. Thank you for watching.